The quantum arrays aboard Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station Omega hummed quietly in the void. Lieutenant Raj Patel stared at his displays, his dark eyes reflecting the cascade of data streaming across multiple holographic panels. After 3 years of scanning the depths of space for signs of intelligent life, he'd grown accustomed to the endless stream of natural phenomena and false positives. This signal was different. "Director Hammond," Raj called out, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I'm picking up something unusual in the theta reticuli sector." Director Victoria Hammond crossed the control room in quick strides, her silver hair caught in the blue glow of the monitoring stations. She'd spent 30 years searching for proof of extraterrestrial intelligence, and something in Raj's tone made her pulse quicken. "Show me," she commanded, leaning over his station. The signal pulsed on his screen, a complex pattern that defied natural explanation. More importantly, it was changing, adapting as Earth's arrays focused on it. "It's responding to our observations," Raj explained. "Whatever this is, it's aware we're watching." 12 hours later, aboard the ESS Shadowhawk, Captain Isabella Rivera studied the same data with growing concern. Her ship, one of Earth's newest stealth vessels, had been dispatched to investigate the signal source. The Shadowhawk's quantum-masked hull made it virtually invisible to known detection methods, a precaution that now seemed prescient. "Status report," she ordered, her voice carrying the authority of 15 years in Earth's Space Force. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong, her tactical officer, responded without looking up from his station. "We're approaching the signal's origin point, Captain." But he hesitated. "There's something else out there. Multiple somethings." Isabella moved to the tactical display, her eyes widening as the sensor data resolved into clear images. Massive vessels hung in the void, their designs unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Their hulls seemed to bend light around them, making them appear as tears in the fabric of space itself. "How many?" she asked, though she could count them herself. 23 vessels, ranging from destroyer to dreadnought class, assuming their size correlates to their function," Marcus answered. "They're arranged in a standard patrol formation around something." The something was a massive structure, easily the size of Earth's moon, but clearly artificial. Its surface was covered in what appeared to be city-sized structures, all centered around a massive sphere that pulsed with energy. "Message from Earth Command, Priority 1, announced Communications Officer Yuki Tanaka. "We're ordered to maintain observation only. Do not engage or reveal our presence." Isabella nodded, but something about the alien fleet's formation troubled her. They weren't arranged for patrol, but for assault. She'd seen similar formations in historical records of Earth's naval battles. "Run a full spectral analysis of their energy signatures," she ordered. "I want to know what they're capable of." The results came back within minutes, and they were troubling. The alien vessels were powered by something that made Earth's most advanced fusion reactors look like chemical rockets in comparison. But more concerning was the buildup of energy they were detecting. These ships were preparing for something. The answer came in the form of a transmission that broke through every encryption and security measure on the Shadowhawk. A holographic figure materialized on the bridge, its form tall and elegant, with crystalline features that seemed to shift and change as it spoke. "Attention primitive species," the figure announced in perfect English, its voice carrying harmonics that made Isabella's teeth ache. "I am High Commander Zixtal of the Jacari Empire. Your observation of our activities has not gone unnoticed. Your attempt at stealth technology, while impressive for your development level, is quite transparent to our sensors." Isabella stood, her mind racing through options. Their cover was blown, but maybe they could still salvage something from this encounter. Before she could respond, the alien continued. "Your species has progressed more quickly than our models predicted. This accelerated development represents a potential threat to galactic stability. The Jacari Empire has maintained order in this sector for 10,000 years by preventing primitive species from advancing beyond their designated technological boundaries. Your civilization has exceeded these boundaries." "We mean you no harm," Isabella responded, keeping her voice diplomatic while signaling her crew to begin emergency protocols. Humanity seeks only peaceful contact and exchange of knowledge. The crystalline features of Zixtal shifted into what might have been amusement. Peace is maintained through order, and order requires hierarchy. Your species has shown remarkable ingenuity, developing technologies along paths we had not anticipated. This makes you unpredictable, dangerous. The Empire cannot allow such variables to exist. The alien fleet began to move, their formation shifting into an attack pattern. But something about their movement caught Isabella's eye. They were positioning themselves for energy weapon bombardment, assuming Earth vessels would have similar defenses to their own. "You have one planetary rotation to surrender your world for processing," Zixtal announced. "Resistance will result in immediate cleansing protocols. Choose wisely." The transmission cut off. Isabella turned to her crew, her decision already made. "Send everything we've learned to Earth Command. All power to quantum engines. We're getting out of here, and we're taking a different route home than they'll expect." As the Shadowhawk prepared to jump, Isabella allowed herself a grim smile. The Jacquerie Empire had revealed more than they intended. They'd shown their arrogance, their assumptions about how lesser species should develop, and most importantly, their surprise at humanity's different technological path. Earth would need every advantage in the coming conflict. The Jacquerie Empire was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in following predetermined paths of development, but in finding new ways to solve old problems. The Shadowhawk vanished into quantum space, carrying with it the warning Earth would need. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity's fight for survival would reshape the very empire that sought to end it. The Jacquerie ultimatum arrived on Earth just as the first rays of dawn touched the peaks of the Rocky Mountains. Within hours, the planet's major powers had convened an emergency session of the United Earth Council. Inside the Council's hardened bunker beneath Geneva, Fleet Admiral Kaori Yoshida stood before the assembled leaders, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic display of the Jacquerie fleet. "The ESS Shadowhawk's data confirms our worst fears," she announced, her voice carrying decades of command experience. "The Jacquerie possess technology far beyond our current capabilities. However," she paused, allowing a slight smile, "they've also revealed critical weaknesses." The hologram shifted, showing detailed scans of the alien vessels. Their entire military doctrine is built around energy weapons and shield technology. They've become so reliant on these advanced systems that they've forgotten the basics of physical warfare. In high orbit above Earth, aboard the newly commissioned ESS Thunderchild, Commander Nathan Okonjo watched his crew prepare for what might be humanity's first major space battle. The Thunderchild was different from any other ship in Earth's fleet, a prototype designed to fight in ways the aliens wouldn't expect. "Railven battery check complete," reported Weapons Officer Lai Wei. "All mass drivers operational. Kinetic penetrator pods loaded and ready." Nathan nodded, studying the tactical displays. The Thunderchild's hull was covered in layers of ablative armor and heat-dispersing materials, designed to absorb energy weapons rather than deflect them. Instead of shields, they had point defense systems and electronic warfare suites that no other species had thought to develop. "Message from Fleet Command," announced Communications Officer Fatima Hassan. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. The Jacquerie fleet has arrived." They emerged from quantum space like avenging angels, their crystalline ships catching the sun's light and refracting it in dazzling patterns. Leading them was a vessel that dwarfed all others, its hull shaped like a perfect geometric sphere surrounded by rotating rings of energy. The transmission came as expected. "Primitive species," High Commander Zixtal's voice rang through all frequencies. "Your time has expired. Prepare for cleansing." Nathan opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Remember your training. They expect us to fight like them. Let's show them how humans wage war." The Jacquerie struck first, their energy weapons turning space itself into a lethal light show. But Earth was ready. The Thunderchild and its sister ships scattered in precise formation, their hulls absorbing or redirecting the energy attacks while closing distance. They're powering up their main weapon arrays, Lai reported. Energy signatures off the charts. Deploy the LSEPs, Nathan ordered. From the Thunderchild's hull launched hundreds of local space effect projectors, devices that created microscopic gravity distortions. To the Jacquerie sensors, they appeared as mere debris. But as their energy weapons fired, the LSEPs activated. The alien beams twisted and curved, their paths distorted by the artificial gravity wells. Some even curved back on their own ships, causing shields to flare unexpectedly. What trickery is this? Zixtal's voice betrayed the first hint of concern. Your primitive technology cannot possibly. Now, Nathan commanded. All ships, execute Operation Hammerfall. The Thunderchild's railguns spoke, launching hypersonic projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. The Jacquerie shields, calibrated for energy weapons, failed to properly account for the kinetic impact. The first volley tore through 3 of their smaller vessels, turning their crystalline hulls into clouds of glittering debris. But the Jacquerie weren't the galaxy's dominant empire for nothing. Their ships began to adapt, their hulls flowing like liquid crystal to form new configurations. Energy spike. Lai shouted. They're charging something massive. The sphere ship's rings aligned, forming a focal point that began to glow with impossible brightness. All ships, evasive pattern Delta, Nathan ordered. Deploy electronic warfare packages. As the Jacquerie weapon prepared to fire, hundreds of small drones launched from the Earth vessels, each broadcasting a different frequency of quantum noise. The alien targeting systems, designed to track energy signatures, were suddenly blind. The massive energy beam fired, but hit nothing but empty space. In the confusion, Earth's ships pressed their advantage. Kinetic penetrators and tactical nuclear devices found their marks, while electronic warfare systems continued to scramble the alien coordination. Impossible. Zixtal's transmission was filled with static. Your species should not be capable of this level of tactical innovation. That's your problem, Nathan responded, allowing himself a grim smile. You think there's only one way to advance. Humanity had to find different paths. We had to innovate, to think differently, because we didn't have your advantages. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was becoming clear. The Jacquerie fleet, for all its technological superiority, couldn't adapt quickly enough to Earth's unconventional tactics. By the time Zixtal ordered a retreat, half his fleet lay in ruins. As the surviving alien ships fled into quantum space, Nathan received a priority transmission from Fleet Command. Long-range sensors had detected something incredible. Other alien vessels hiding at the edge of the solar system. But these weren't Jacquerie ships. They were refugees, watching to see if humanity could do what no other species had managed: stand up to the Empire. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Earth had proven itself a force to be reckoned with, and now potential allies were emerging from the shadows. The galaxy was changing, and humanity's different path to the stars might just be the key to breaking the Jacquerie's iron grip on civilization. The refugee ships emerged from hiding like ghosts, materializing from quantum space, their organic-looking hulls a stark contrast to the crystalline geometry of Jacquerie vessels. Aboard the ESS Thunderchild, Commander Nathan Okonjo watched as first contact protocols were initiated with these unexpected allies. The lead vessel's ambassador transferred aboard through a shimmering quantum tunnel. The beam that stepped onto the Thunderchild's deck was breathtaking. Tall and elegant, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. 4 arms moved with fluid grace as it offered a formal greeting. I am Ziravek of the Corel Collective, it announced in a melodious voice that seemed to bypass ears entirely and speak directly to the mind. We have watched your battle with great interest. You have accomplished what we thought impossible. Admiral Yoshida, who had transferred to the Thunderchild after the battle, stepped forward. The Corel, We found references to your species in the data we captured. The Jacquerie recorded your civilization as processed centuries ago. Zirivek's skin rippled with dark colors. An expression of pain, Nathan guessed. They destroyed our worlds, but some of us escaped. We have spent generations hiding, watching, gathering others who defied the Empire's processing. And now, finally, we have found hope. In the following days, as Earth scientists and engineers worked with the Corel and other refugee species, a picture emerged of a galaxy far different from what humanity had imagined. The Jacquerie Empire had spent millennia ensuring that all technological development followed specific paths they could predict and control. Your kinetic weapons, explained Tilur, a Corel engineer, while examining the Thunderchild's railguns. We abandoned such primitive technology ages ago, focusing entirely on energy weapons. The Empire encouraged this. Now we understand why. The Corel brought their own innovations, biotechnology far beyond human understanding, ships that were grown rather than built, quantum communications that couldn't be intercepted. But they had gaps in their knowledge, areas where following the Empire's approved development path had left them vulnerable. In the Thunderchild's Strategic Command Center, representatives from a dozen species gathered around a holographic display of known space. The Corel were not alone. The Myrn, insectoid beings who had mastered gravity manipulation. The Voth, energy beings who existed partially in quantum space. And others, all victims of the Empire, all bringing unique perspectives and technologies. The Empire's power lies in predictability, Admiral Yoshida addressed the gathered allies. They've spent millennia ensuring every species develops along the same technological path. But humanity took a different route. We had to solve problems without access to advanced energy manipulation or quantum engineering. We had to be creative. Zirivek's skin shimmered with bright colors of excitement. And now we combine our knowledge. Your unconventional warfare with our advanced technology. The Empire will never expect this. Planning began in earnest. Earth's military strategists worked with alien tacticians to develop new combat doctrines. The Corel's biological ships were modified to carry human kinetic weapons. The Myrn's gravity technology was integrated with Earth's electronic warfare systems. Deep in the Thunderchild's engineering section, human and alien scientists worked to create weapons the Empire would never anticipate. They called it Project Synthesis, the combination of multiple technological approaches to create something entirely new. "Look at this," Tilor exclaimed, their skin pulsing with excitement as they demonstrated their latest creation. A seemingly simple projectile, when fired in tests, created a localized quantum distortion that bypassed shields entirely. We would never have thought to combine physical ammunition with quantum fields. The possibilities are endless. But time was running out. Long-range sensors detected massive Jacquerie fleet movements. The Empire was mobilizing on a scale not seen in centuries, preparing to crush this unexpected resistance before it could spread. "They're afraid," Nathan observed, studying the tactical displays with Zirivek. "For the first time in their history, they're facing something they can't predict." "Fear makes them dangerous," Zirivek replied, their skin darkening. "The Empire will commit everything to this fight. They must maintain the illusion of technological superiority, or their control over countless worlds will begin to crack." Admiral Yoshida called a final meeting of the Alliance leadership. The holographic display showed their combined fleet. Earth's warships, now upgraded with alien technology, alongside the organic vessels of the Corel, the gravity ships of the Myrn, and others. It was a fraction of the Empire's size, but it represented something the Jacquerie had never faced. True innovation. "Operation Starfall begins in 12 hours, she announced. "Our target is the Empire's primary shipyard at Nexus 7. Their forces are gathering there, preparing for a massive assault on Earth. We strike first." As the assembled leaders dispersed to prepare their forces, Nathan found himself standing with Zirivek, watching the Allied fleet through the Thunderchild's observation deck. The Empire believes they know everything about warfare, the Corel observed. They think they have seen every possible strategy, every technological advancement. But they have never seen anything like this, species working together, combining their knowledge in new ways. Nathan nodded. They forced everyone to follow the same path, never understanding that true strength comes from diversity. In thought, in technology, in approaches to problems. The alert sounded. Time to begin deployment. As Nathan headed to the bridge, he realized that this wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was a revolution in how civilizations could develop, a proof that there was more than one path to the stars. The true war for the galaxy's future was about to begin. The combined fleet dropped out of quantum space at Nexus 7 like a thunderbolt from the void. The Jacquerie shipyards stretched across the system, massive crystalline structures that dwarfed planets, their surfaces bristling with construction arrays and defense platforms. Aboard the Thunderchild, now designated as the Alliance's command vessel, Commander Nathan Okonjo watched the enemy fleet arrange itself into perfect geometric formations. The Empire's response was exactly as predicted, methodical, by the book, and completely unprepared for what was coming. All ships, execute Operation Starfall, Admiral Yoshida commanded. Remember your training. Fight smart, fight different. The Alliance fleet split into seemingly chaotic groups, a formation that would have horrified traditional military strategists. But there was method in the madness. Each group combined vessels with complementary capabilities. Earth ships with their kinetic weapons, Corel biological vessels with their quantum phase technology, MERN gravity manipulators, and others. Enemy fleet launching primary strike force, reported Lai Wei, her hands dancing across the tactical console. Energy signatures matching known patrol patterns. The Jacquerie attack came as expected. A massive energy barrage designed to overwhelm shields and defenses. But the Alliance fleet didn't raise shields. Instead, the MERN vessels projected gravity wells that bent the energy attacks away, while Corel ships absorbed and redirected the power into their biological systems. Launch Phase 1, Nathan ordered. From the Earth vessels launched thousands of what appeared to be simple missiles. The Jacquerie ignored them, their sensors showing them as primitive projectiles. That was their first mistake. As the missiles approached, they split apart, revealing their true nature. Hybrid weapons combining human kinetic technology with Corel biological components and MERN gravity manipulation. They phased through shields, their impacts amplified by localized gravity fields, while bioengineered components adapted to counter Jacquerie defensive responses. Impossible. The transmission from the Jacquerie command ship was filled with static. Your weapons, they defy classification. That's the point. Admiral Yoshida responded calmly. You spent millennia ensuring everyone developed the same way. We're showing you a different path. The battle evolved in ways no tactical simulation could have predicted. Earth ships used modified Corel quantum fields to phase their kinetic weapons through Jacquerie shields. MERN gravity ships created corridors of distorted space that allowed Alliance vessels to maneuver in ways that defied conventional physics. But the Empire's numbers were overwhelming. For every ship they lost, 3 more took its place. The massive shipyards began launching newly constructed vessels directly into the battle. We need to strike the command hub, Zyravek announced from their position at the Quantum Analytics Station. Our spies confirm. The entire Nexus network is controlled from there. Without it, their coordination fails. The command hub was a massive crystalline sphere at the heart of the shipyards, protected by overlapping fields of energy and countless defensive platforms. A direct assault would be suicide. Unless... Nathan studied the tactical display, an idea forming. To lure those hybrid projectiles we developed, could they be modified to carry a quantum payload? The Corel engineer's skin flickered with excitement. Yes, we could use the MERN gravity tech to create a corridor, while our bioships mask the quantum signature. Do it, Admiral Yoshida ordered. All ships prepare for Protocol Omega. What followed was perhaps the most complex military maneuver ever attempted. Earth ships launched a massive barrage of kinetic weapons, while Corel vessels generated quantum interference fields. MERN ships created a tunnel of warped space, leading directly to the command hub. The Voth energy beings added their own unique abilities, temporarily phase-shifting Allied ships to avoid enemy fire. The Ja'Kari responded exactly as their tactical doctrine demanded, by concentrating their defenses on the apparent main thrust. They never saw the real attack coming. A single modified projectile, carrying a payload of combined human, Corel, and MERN technology, slipped through their defenses. It struck the command hub's crystal surface and phased inside before detonating. The explosion wasn't physical. It was a cascade of quantum effects that rippled through the Ja'Kari command and control network. Ships lost coordination. Automated defenses went dark. The perfect geometric formations dissolved into chaos. Multiple quantum signatures. Lie announced. Ships emerging throughout the system. They weren't enemy reinforcements. These were vessels from dozens of supposedly processed civilizations emerging from hiding. The Corel network had spread the word. The Empire was vulnerable. The Ja'Kari fleet, for the first time in their history, began to retreat in disarray. The shipyards, their crown jewel of military power, lay partially in ruins. But as Nathan watched the enemy flee, he noticed something odd about their movement patterns. Some ships weren't retreating. They were defecting. Younger Ja'Kari, those who had begun to question the Empire's rigid doctrine, were taking the opportunity to break free. Send to all Allied vessels, Admiral Yoshida commanded. Nexus 7 is secured. The chain is broken. The victory was more than military. They had proven that technological development didn't have to follow a single path. Innovation, creativity, and cooperation between different species had achieved what millennia of conventional warfare could not. As the Alliance fleet secured the system, transmissions began pouring in from across the galaxy. Other civilizations, inspired by the victory, were rising up against Imperial control. The revolution that had started with a single human ship detecting an alien signal was spreading like wildfire. But Nathan knew this wasn't the end. The Empire's core worlds remained, and they would not go quietly. The final battle would be for the heart of the Ja'Kari civilization itself. The Ja'Kari homeworld hung in space like a perfect crystal, its surface a geometric pattern of cities and technology built over millennia of Imperial rule. The combined Alliance fleet emerged from quantum space at precise coordinates, their formation now a seamless blend of different species' tactics and technologies. Final transmission from the Empire received. Fatima announced on the Thunderchild's bridge. They're demanding our unconditional surrender. Admiral Yoshida, her uniform bearing the new insignia of the Allied Species Command, allowed herself a small smile. Send our response. The message was simple. We offer you the same choice you gave others. Adapt or fall. The battle for the Ja'Kari homeworld began not with weapons, but with a revelation. The Alliance broadcast proof across all frequencies, evidence of young Ja'Kari who had defected, showing how combining different technological approaches had created advances their rigid doctrine never imagined possible. Enemy fleet approaching, Lie reported. But something's different. Their formations, they're not standard Imperial patterns. The Ja'Kari ships came in waves, but each group moved differently. Some maintained traditional crystal-perfect formations, while others showed signs of adaptation, attempting to mimic the Alliance's successful tactics. The Empire was fracturing from within. They're fighting themselves, Zyrovic observed, their skin rippling with complex emotions. The younger generations against the old guard. The space around the crystalline world became a battlefield unlike any in galactic history. Traditional Ja'Kari energy weapons clashed with hybrid technologies. Some Imperial ships fought with desperate fury to maintain the old ways, while others turned on their former masters, using modified versions of Alliance tactics. Deep within the Thunderchild's enhanced quantum communications array, Teller monitored a surge of transmissions from the planet's surface. The civilian networks are alive with debate. The young ones are questioning everything. Why their society stopped innovating. Why they fear different approaches to technology. The turning point came not from the Alliance's superior firepower, but from within the Ja'Kari themselves. A group of young scientists and engineers, led by a brilliant physicist named Zolra, seized control of the planet's main defense grid. The impenetrable shields protecting the Imperial Palace flickered and died. All ships, hold position. Admiral Yoshida commanded. Let them handle this themselves. The revolution that followed was swift and decisive. The old Imperial Council, so long isolated in their crystal towers, found themselves confronted by their own people. Generations of enforced technological stagnation had created a pressure cooker of repressed innovation, and now it was bursting free. Zilra's voice broadcast across all frequencies. The Empire's time is over. We choose a new path, one of cooperation, innovation, and freedom to develop as each species sees fit. The fighting didn't end immediately. Some hardline Imperial forces continued to resist, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The Ja'Kari civilization, for the first time in millennia, was choosing change over stagnation. 3 months later, representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the transformed Imperial Palace. The crystal walls, once symbols of rigid perfection, had been reshaped into organic flowing forms that incorporated elements from multiple civilizations' architectural styles. Commander Nathan Okonjo, now Earth's ambassador to the new Galactic Council, stood with Ziravek and Zilra, watching delegations arrive through various means. Some through quantum tunnels, others in physical ships, each according to their own technological preferences. The old council chambers have been replaced, Zildra explained, her crystalline features showing the more fluid patterns of the young Ja'Kari. The new design allows for change, for addition, for growth. The first meeting of the Galactic Council marked the beginning of a new era. The principles were simple but revolutionary. All paths of technological development were valid. Innovation and diversity were to be celebrated, not suppressed. Species would share knowledge freely, but each would be free to adapt it in their own way. We've established research centers throughout the galaxy, Zarevik reported, their skin glowing with excitement. Places where different species can work together, combining their unique approaches to solve problems in new ways. The Thunderchild, now a museum piece, had become a symbol of this new philosophy. Its hybrid systems, combining technologies from multiple species in ways the Empire had thought impossible, proved that the greatest advances came from embracing different paths of development. Admiral Yoshida's final report to Earth's government became the founding document of the new galactic order. The stars are not meant to be reached by a single path. Each species must find its own way up, bringing its unique perspective to the greater whole. In diversity of thought and approach, we find our greatest strength. As the first session of the new council began, Nathan looked out at the assembled representatives. Humans sat alongside Karel, Myrn, Voth, and yes, Ja'Kari. Each had their own way of thinking, their own approach to technology and progress. Together, they were building something the Empire in all its power had never imagined, a future where all paths to the stars were valid. The galaxy had changed forever, and the change had begun with a simple truth. Sometimes the best way forward is to question why there should be only one way at all. End of story.